Greetings, vinyl community. This is a response to ProgHat's contest about the 60s. And it's a very simple contest. ProgHat, who is known to his mother as Edward, has tasked us with showing 3 favorite albums, 3 favorite songs, and a favorite artist from the 60s. So, of course, the 60s makes you think of one particular album that just everybody remembers. Everybody knows where they were when they first heard it. It's like the album that defines the 60s, and I am, of course, referring to Do the Freddy by Freddie and the Dreamers, the album that terrified a nation. I'll include a link in the description to the performance of Do the Freddy on the Ed Sullivan Show. It's better than drugs. You'll get to hear the horrifying cackle that Freddie Garrity often used to punctuate the songs and truly defined a decade. Okay, let's get serious. From 1965, wonderful album by Herbie Hancock, Maiden Voyage, an album that featured some really experimental harmonies, and in particular, the title track, Maiden Voyage, is famous for being harmonized entirely in minor 7th chords with the 4th note of the scale in the bass. So that's a note that doesn't belong to the minor 7th chord and gives it this floaty, drifty feeling that matches the kind of nautical theme of the album. And this is a reissue on green vinyl, so not an original Blue Note, but a very colorful Blue Note, not even blue. From 1967, we showed Freddie and the Dreamers. Another notable British invasion act was Chad and Jeremy, but later on in the decade, they became very psychedelic. They started using their last names, so Chad Stewart and Jeremy Clyde put out this extraordinary album of Cabbages and Kings. Very much in the both experimental and psychedelic vein. You'll hear on side 2, which is an extremely ambitious orchestral suite with only 2 actual songs included. Mostly it's just orchestral music. It's got sitars in it. It's got the Fire Sign Theater in an early incarnation providing dialogue. Very ambitious, as I said, and very cool stuff. Very successful, I think, in going as far left as you could imagine from their roots. Of Cabbages and Kings, the title, of course, from Lewis Carroll, from The Walrus and the Carpenter. And those are my albums from the 60s. For my songs, I decided to pull out, since he asked for specific songs, I decided to pull out some 45s. And I'm showing songs that are covers. They're all covers of songs from the 60s, and the covers themselves were also from the 60s, all from 1968. And we're on the radio 1968, 69, starting with Southwest FOB, band from Dallas, Texas, and their cover of Smell of Incense, originally by West Coast pop art experimental band. A song that features spooky organ and tells a sort of mysterious tale of a boy-girl encounter, and is kind of low-key. I don't think it was a big national hit, but it was played in my area in Southern California. And Southwest FOB is notable for 2 members who went on to become England Dan and John Ford Coley. And these are all songs where I think I heard the original before. I think I heard the cover that I'm showing before I ever heard the original. I'm not sure about this one. I may have heard the original first, but I kind of don't think so. This is She's Not There, as performed by The Road in 1968. The Road was a band from New York, and they do, again, there's a lot of that psychedelic combo organ sound. I'm not sure if it's a farfisa or not, but they this is again a song that wasn't a big charting hit, but it got played in my market in San Diego, and I believe it was in the local top 30 at the same time that the Zombies themselves were on the charts with Time of the Season. And I remember these songs around the same time. And a notable thing that The Road do in their arrangement is they go into this kind of stop time in the transition from the verse to the chorus. They go, well, let me tell you. It's just, it stops. I think they may have been going for a Vanilla Fudge type of effect there. And finally, this is bizarre. This is Dion doing Purple Haze. This was his follow-up to his big 1968 hit, Abraham, Martin, and John. And, well, it's got most of the same lyrics as the Jimi Hendrix song, but musically it's got very little to do with the original of Purple Haze. It's acoustic guitar and features prominent flute. There's a lot of sort of scatting and duetting vocally with the flute from Dion. B-side of this is a cover of The Dolphins by Fred Neil, whom ProgHat mentioned in his own answer to the questions. And finally, a favorite artist from the 60s. Well, not a lot needs to be said about Jimi Hendrix. A great favorite. And the bonus question was show an album specifically from 1968. Well, I'm not sure if I have any albums from 1968, do I? That's a question. But there is one album that really influenced me. It's a very important album to me. And if you listen to my own most recent music, you can hear that I was kind of going for something along the lines of The Wild Bull by Morton Subotnick. Brilliant early album of early electronic music performed on the Buchla synthesizer. So there was sort of a West Coast, East Coast duality between the Buchla synthesizer, which was a West Coast thing, and the Moog, which was a New York kind of thing. So Morton Subotnick was the Buchla guy. And when I first learned electronic music, I was trained on a Buchla synthesizer at UC San Diego, studied with Pauline Oliveros, who gave me my instruction in how to work the thing. But this is a thrilling album, and I really recommend it if you want to hear some very, very way out sounds. That's my entry. Thank you very much for watching. Be well. Talk with you again soon. Bye-bye for now.